Okay, just to follow up on the last tutorial, because the program crashed. One way you can apply these methods to planes instead of lines is to take a make2d object, and you can use curve boolean, which in general is a very helpful tool, to aggregate different planes together that you may want to highlight or emphasize, etc. The nice thing about curve boolean is that it kind of merges these lines together. So it's helpful when you're trying to outline a form in general. But in this case, I'll just do these elements. Or actually, maybe we'll try the negative space. So if you then isolate this, you can then create surfaces out of these. And I'll use the tool cell last, select just the last objects we have operated and created. And so then I have a series of planes. The reason I want a series of planes is that I can now contour these planes and create hatch lines of a sort. Now if I have my direction of contour perpendicular and I say have 2 units, I'll get these kind of hatch lines. Let's try that again for a slightly denser 0.5. Great, that looks pretty good. And then I can move this out of here. Let's try that one more time. I'll grab the corner, move it sideways. And then this becomes my starting geometry. Now let's try to put it in here. I'm going to increase the division lengths up so that what I get is pretty simple. And then I'm going to increase this slowly. Let's try putting this into here. So chaining this, and this might take a while. You can see it already has taken a while. I'm gonna double click and change this. One thing that in Grasshopper, when you drag a slider, Grasshopper actually computes each answer as it moves along the slider, which is super helpful when you're trying to visualize something, right? Because you can move a slider back and forth and see it change. But when you're doing these one-off computations that take a while, you really don't want to do that, because moving a slider will just create lots of answers at once and slow you down. So I guess this is kind of what we get when we put it into a surface along line. Or we can try to plug it into something else, such as maybe this hand trace thing. So I'll disconnect, plug it in here. Maybe this is going to be very slow. Actually, let's disconnect this. And in fact, let's plug this in here and see what we get from the hand trace. I'm going to click this button that lets us only show the geometry we're working with. And maybe reduce the length of this a little so I get these more curvier lines. Excellent, that's exactly what I want. And let's see what happens if I plug then that into the line hatcher. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what I'm getting, but that's kind of the appeal of it, Let's reduce the division lengths to a little lower. But who knows? In any case, or you can imagine some sort of variant of this, or the sky's the limit as to what kind of geometry you're creating and what kind of clusters you're using. But let's say we both want these, so I middle click and bake it. Did that work? Looks like it did not. Let's try that again. I'll grab this geometry element and this geometry element. I'll bake it. I'll select last. Great, and then I'll move this back over onto my initial drawing. And you can see how it's created some sort of figure-ground relationship. And the texture has just done more than just to highlight this. And yeah, so this is one of many ways in which you can use Grasshopper to create some sort of line work. That's neither just like the singular, very kind of simple denotative line, but some more complex textures. And then, of course, you can bring this into Illustrator, change line weight, opacity, work with blending, merge it into Photoshop, etc. But this is kind of the kind of geometry you can get with Grasshopper.